up to speed, up to speed, up to speed.
Live from the apocalypse. Fuck DJ academics. This is State of the Game. I'm Dano, your host. I'm a very nice person who has worked over time to minimize the amount of people that make me angry, but there are a few, and they're on like a personal fuck that guy list in the back of my head, right? So the cool part is when people on that list get in trouble, I'm like, yeah, that makes sense. I've had you booked for a while. So uh, shout out to everybody. And yeah, all I would say is don't call DJ Academics a controversial figure. He's not. He's gross. He's a predator, and don't support him. Anyway, um, so that's me. My co-host is independently wealthy, ladies, you should know, and made that money replacing actors on soap operas. Contract disputes, sickness. You remember that voice would come on? The part of Marcus will be played by boom. He's in. And he's very wealthy because of it.
Got to make a living, man. Got to
Thank
make a
you, K
living.
Diggy, for joining us. I appreciate you. So today we have some guests. First I'd like to introduce one of I, I'm so happy to say one of the most important producers in the game because I've been loving the work for so long. But I guess the proper introduction is so I have a list in my phone of interesting rap names, and I make them battle each other sometimes. Like I'll pull it out for the family and be like, who's got a crazier, better rap name, this person or this person? My guest just recently lost in the eyes of my family to Peanut Butter Wolf, but it was a close one and it was a debate, you know? So Steel Tip Dove, thank you for being here.
Thank you, man. Thank you for having me. He
I
wins
voted
on
for
acronyms for loan, so
Yep. Yep.
Is it just because they have three names? Is it like
I think it
very
just made sense.
hard?
Yes, it made sense in my mind. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Peanut
Yep.
butter wolf and steel tip dove. I love
Right.
it.
Right. I try and make it like minded. Like the one that's gotten the most reaction is Yak Balls versus Crunchy Black.
Yak balls is pretty fucking out there.
Crunchy Black usually comes out on top because there's just levels to it. There's layers to think about. It really lives in your mind. So, but
Yeah.
Yak Balls made my son spit his milk out all over himself. Shout out to this legend. So my other guest is a titan in my mind for two things, right? Two different things. And I mentioned this before we started. When I came back from the army, right, I was behind on what was good in music, to be honest. Um, I was living in, we were just drinking, listening to Cash Money, and doing what we did.
Sure.
Mixing liquors that shouldn't be mixed, to be frank.
That was the
But
time.
right, I got home and I found out about Scribble Jam and I ordered all the DVDs.
Oh,
Still have them.
dope.
So anyone on those DVDs is like a legend in my mind because I connected to these worlds through those, right?
Right.
That's how I learned. Oh, this is Idea, this is Brother Ali, and all that. Um, and so I've watched you run around frenetically battling for years.
Right.
And recently I showed my son these battles to show him like this is how this lived in the real world. Um, you know, but the other thing is Anticon. And we'll do the Anticon rant later, but I I had lunch with DJ Mayonnaise every day for years.
No shit.
He
I
works
love
where I
that.
work.
What?
Yes. And I didn't know he was DJ Mayonnaise. So he asked me about Anticon one day, and I was like, fucking Anticon, fucking snooty, intellectual shit that poisoned this local scene for 15 years. Like I was basically like, everybody around here is a fake Anticon MC, right?
Right, right. This I've seen. I know what you're talking about there. Yeah.
He looked at me disgusted. It was awesome. And we and taught me the knowledge. And it wasn't until I started talking to rappers that I understood how important Anticon was and how important you are. Those one.
Right.
Because talking to Mega in Tokyo, and he has the Anticon poster, and like talking to Duncecat, and he's like, "You know DJ Mayonnaise?" And I'm like, "What?" You know, it was Anticon was just around us. Like
Right.
we didn't really take in the effect it had on the world. Um,
I mean, there's an amount of bias, but I think that's relative and exists for all people who challenge you in general. There's like levels of it that like veer toward valid, and then there's levels of it that are really just people not listening to it, giving it merit. But also it's like it's a lot of motherfuckers. So at this point, I am myself. That is
yeah,
something that was a huge growth period for me, lots of relationships, but yeah, it's interesting to see people still as like have a cow about whatever aspect of fucking Anacon they want to, go there about.
yeah, being grumpy about something for that long is actually pretty impressive. For
Yeah,
to be able to,
especially when most of it's great music and all
right?
this weird bedroom produced music
Yep.
from
Yeah,
all at the
it's
end of the
incredible
day,
shit.
it had like Young Fathers, Bats, like it
Oh,
what Anacon found was all the music that had like a similar ethos.
Restiform bodies,
Restiform Bodies, yep, there was all kinds of shit.
oh yeah,
six
yeah,
two shit. Yo, the original fucking compilation, the black cover with the ant,
crazy. That's crazy.
insane. All the
Regarding creating like hotbeds of sound alikes, that's kind of relative. That's how shit goes.
Totally.
We had like an underground swell because we came from tape trading. So like our generation, we, we moved fast and it was the beginning of the internet. So we were in Japan when we were in Chicago with
Yeah.
our tapes.
yeah, it's
We
fucking
toured.
crazy. It's fucking
Yeah, there
crazy.
was no the first tours we did, there was no MapQuest and there was no Euro. It was literally like, I never left the country my whole life. And then I'm fucking in Europe and it was all because of the internet.
Yeah,
Fuck
crazy.
no.
Oh,
I sound like an idiot right now, but it's the truth.
No, it's the truth. It was
Now the
different.
world sucks because of the internet, but back then it was this like perk of just tape trading. It wasn't even digital fucking music, which is
Right.
even cool, anyway.
And but to be fair, I have always adored Alias. I've always been in reverence of Alias because like I think Alias is the most talented hip hop person to ever come from Maine. Period. Like
Yeah.
he's my number one, and we just didn't have he was our flying lotus.
Yeah, he was fucking chameleon and brilliant. He had no bounds, man. It was pretty cool. And I think for me, the record I did with Bren and the record I did with Dove, this
Yep.
like I'm finally back where I was when I made that record with Bren, because of working with someone who just gave me inspired music.
Yep.
That's what Dove and I had too, and it was like honestly, it happened so fast without being rushed. It was crazy. Just
Yeah,
fucking
super crazy, man, because I listen to all that shit, bro. 99 through 2005, like everything Anticon put out, everything. Now that
yeah.
I like when I actually explore, like look at the list of the discography, I'm like, oh, I actually listened to fucking every single one of these records. Like
Yeah.
I really did. Uh
There
like
was some really
it's
good
kind of crazy.
gems.
Why
Like,
like the early why it's just
yep.
insane.
Ooh,
Early Y,
The
B-Boy
early
Cat.
themselves shit, the early like it's crazy.
crazy. It was it was so but like we had no reference point for understanding it. It was the issue, right? Like
Sure.
that dropped in from another planet. And we were just like, what? We didn't know how to hear it at that
Yeah.
point.
Yeah.
Even
I
listening
mean,
to Les's to the Alias Les's orchestrated album, like I was just I was still floored by the production of like how kind of smoky it is, how much is going on behind it, even though it feels sparse.
right.
So it was definitely spooky as shit.
Yeah, man, I mean, Bren, it was some masterclass shit, and
Yeah,
I think that's my favorite one of my favorite things that I got to do was make, that last bit of music before he passed,
Yep.
together, you know.
Crazy.
Yeah. And yeah, I think Anticon had an influence on like people who love rap, and then it had a much broader influence on people who make music. And
Mhm.
Yeah.
I think when you look at rap, there's quite a few groups that outcast, not equivalent whatsoever, but there's groups that like radiate
Sure.
outside of genre for better or for worse within the genre, right? It just
Mhm.
gets kind of weird. It's like, it's not like, I think though, for us though, we never were like selling out. We were just weirding out. And there's the same kind of like slippery slope for listeners and bystanders and motherfuckers
Yeah.
across the, you
I
know,
was I was gonna say, I think in terms of guests, you are probably the one who proves that the underground exists the most. Like,
right.
there are people who retroactively say there is no underground, it's made up, it's artificial. That was just something like the media made up. But I think
Wait a minute. It's not though. It's like if right now I'm going to describe underground to you, it's like a small run of your music you just released in physical form, and that's it. It's like, and it's if it's digital, if it's not on Spotify, like the underground is availability. If it's like limited, uh,
Mm.
it's like if you work a
Yeah.
job, the criterion is like that the music is resonating
right,
and that you make it exist a little bit, and it can just exist on Bandcamp as digital files, but like that's the underground, and it's the same for techno and rock and
Yeah.
fucking
Yeah.
honestly,
yeah,
Mm.
I think we're all supposed to be so galvanized by like capitalism that
yeah,
everybody's just like, it's just people who haven't gone diamond yet. And we're like, no, man, like Big Just never wanted to be diamond. Like,
right,
never
right.
wanted it. And like Dose One is the same deal. You've lived your life and managed your career like being like, yeah, I want I want to fuck with your head. I don't want to go diamond, you know?
Yeah, no, I mean, I think the music should be timeless and of its era, and you got to figure that out as artists. And I think that's what Dove and I did with this record, and that's what
Mhm.
I've always tried to do is make something that Um, I'll be honest, man, something that doesn't make me cringe when I listen to it, and
Right.
some of my
Right.
earliest shit, it'll make me cringe. I think that's the truth for everybody. And I try to never be in that era again with my own, I never want to cringe at all about anything I'm working on. So, and yeah, so it's a thing. I think it was a gift for Dove and I to meet and have like a wide array of what we do, and that just to like really mesh. I think sometimes you gotta like there's a process of like, yo, this beat sounds like me, this sounds like that. I'll do something, and for Dove and I, it was just 10 beats that sounded not like one another and we're all dope. And I came 10 ways on them, So it was like this, I don't know. It's
Yeah.
not always
Yeah. And I'm like there. I'm just influenced by experimental shit, and like I feel like that word is overused, but it's a perfect word because like honestly, you you talk music to people, or you listen to music in like the non, in just the at its very surface level, terrestrial level, radio and TV and movies and stuff like that. And it's some of that stuff I love. I love some of the most popular music in the world, but like exper I got a computer and I learned how to experiment, and I just became obsessed with listening to stuff that's like, oh, this is like rap but experimental.
yeah.
And it's
Mm.
such a cliche thing to say, but it's so accurate. And the more experimental it gets, the just I'm gonna love that shit. Like it's yeah, I don't know. And then to eventually get to work with someone who made the good experimental shit for years and years, like it's I think it's great because that's what influenced my shit. So
And I'm in for all the like, shades of the rainbow in terms of experimentation. Like I like people who are like, as an MC, like I make crazy French toast and I'm getting better at my French toast and I'm gonna keep serving you French toast because I like French toast.
Right.
But
Hmm.
I still but I can't just live off French toast, you know? Like I
Correct.
need people who are gonna surprise me and freak me out and serve me different shit. So and that like I think a normal producer might have been a little intimidated making an album with Dose just in the sense that this is somebody whose fans argue about their favorite period of your voice. Like
Sure.
you have so
Mhm.
many different like
Red,
eras
red,
of
and
just
pie.
voice. Huh?
Yep.
Yeah, but for me, like I don't have to worry about I don't know how to explain it. I just have buckets of beats. You know what I mean? Just
Yeah,
like
yeah, yeah.
folders of beats that I'm gonna be making whether I ever meet Vince Staples and get to work with him or, end up working with someone like Dose. Like, so I'm just gonna be like, I don't know, here you want these? And like it's
Yeah,
if something connects, like that's just pure, I don't know, like that's just fantastic. And then the work comes after that, right?
yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
um
And
yeah, so
Dove,
I don't know how I would be like intimidated. Like, I get what you mean because I was like,
Yeah.
I've sent when I send beat packs, I'm like, damn, I hope they like this. Of course I feel that way, and I'm like, it's gonna, because I've sent beat packs to plenty of people and hit crickets or whatever, been like, none of these are for me. I'll be like, all right, whatever. But like, yeah, I don't know. It's intimidating to release, but you know that
Yeah.
I'm working with a guy with a crazy track record, so it's
Right.
like we know it's dope. Like I
Yeah,
don't
yeah,
know.
yeah. Yeah. That makes sense.
yeah, and honestly too with Dove, like, ah, man, I loved every beat we released. And then the second I was hanging at his crib after he finished most of it, I heard like a few more beats, and I was like, fuck, I really
Right, right.
do, and that's actually whatever intimidation. It's like I'm just in the room and I'm inspired by it. It like fucking resonates.
Yep.
I
It
could
just
totally,
circles back around. I'm gonna be inspired by this album. So like by the time, you know what I mean? Like it's crazy that someone was able to write this well and apply that sort of now I see all these, you know what I mean, people react to it. The writing is incredible. I'm like, wow, I gotta keep making
well, it
weird
all comes
beats
from the
because
beat.
gotta keep making weird beats, so that we
Yes.
could, so it's just a circular inspiration sort of thing.
Yeah, it's really the stuff really does pour out of the right beats. And like when I hear the whole pack, it's like it's literally rapper Christmas. I'm like, oh my God, wait,
Right,
it's
right.
these two. I gotta write to these two immediately. I don't know which one it is. And I start to one and then I knock the other one out. And then two of them are like competing again. And I hit and it's like it's really it calls me to write, and then the rest is just editing. And I don't know, I feel like too the eras of my voice now, um it's just a spinning wheel of death. Like you're gonna get whatever voice this beat is calling to, and it's like,
Hmm.
and sometimes it's several within a piece, but like, and that's I think that's all stemmed out of I don't want to bore myself.
Yeah,
And not in
sick.
some kind of ADD way, but like I'm well aware of what I've done. Um, I did my best. I'm gonna try this other thing too, and layering, bringing things back. Now at this point, I feel like I just open the closet and all this shit falls all over me with respect to styles. And then I like to do something new. Um, which is like a gift to feel
Mm.
like doing a new style after I've done 1,000 songs, So,
Right,
and
right.
you're in Dove's Beats, that was all, it was putting me in that fluid. And then I start like opening up and just kind of channeling, and I would write. I had to pull over on the side of the road. I think I wrote, I'm not sure which song it was. I
That's
think it
funny.
was it was the fucking the song with Open Mike Eagle.
Okay.
That work, or no, not that work, went off. It just started coming to me and I had to fucking pull over and write that shit down.
That's sick.
It was great. It all kind of, happens. And then a few things don't get used. They, um, there's always some like I don't know what it is, man. It's like discharge. Like I'll write a great song and then I'll write something that I think is great. It is not great, but it takes me a day to realize. And then I write something
Yeah.
else, like you just gotta fucking, I don't know, have faith you'll outdo yourself. Cause I definitely sometimes I'll write drafts of songs that are like garbage.
Oh man. And my worst was at the poetry reading when I helped run the poetry reading. I realized my poem sucked reading it
Right. Yeah.
to
Mhm.
the crowd.
Well, that's a stage of it. Like when I go to rap it, I'll be like, this is flat. I think the big thing that I actually notice is there's something the drummer and Subtle used to say all the time that I find very useful as a musician is everybody, myself included, whoever I'm working with, sometimes what you just did is stock for you. So even if you're like the best,
Oh shit.
your performance you just pulled off was kind of stock for you. You could do it two more times and it would be like fucking charismatic, or you could think about it a little more, whatever it is. So I try to do that for myself and just be like, that was good, but it was stock. And then some things are just unsurvivably stock. And I'm like, no, that whole shit's getting trashed.
Yeah, yeah,
What are you gonna do?
yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. Your stock might blow somebody away. That's it, yeah, because they don't know.
Yeah.
But it's still so. Kay, had you heard Dose One before, or was this the first time?
I mean, I think we've reviewed him in the past, but yeah, I mean,
Okay.
this was like I came to this project with fresh ears, I guess you could say. Yeah.
Beautiful,
Nope.
beautiful, man. Yeah. What did you think of it? What did you think of this? The
Man, I
writing,
mean, for
performing.
me,
What
it
did you think?
kind of like stretched. I mean, obviously the voices stood out, but it kind of stretched what the definition of like a song was.
Yeah.
Sure.
Uh,
Yeah.
because it's not, I mean, as far as I could tell, the songs aren't structured in like the way like traditional
Right.
like
Right.
rap songs are structured. So that kind of took a while to like kind of wrap my head around. And
Sure.
there were some songs where it felt like as soon as the beat started, we're just going right from the
Oh
start.
yeah.
Like we're not even settling in. We're like,
Yeah.
okay, yep,
Nope.
we're here now.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Uh, so I mean, it was a unique listening experience for sure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for me with song, I had this epiphany where I was like, what, the pinnacle of like a good song is gonna get you some kind of Grammy or something. And like I'm never getting a fucking Grammy. So I was like, all right, fuck it. Maybe sometimes there's no chorus. Because what is that for? That's so you can like catch I don't know. It has like it's not essential to a little piece of music. So this record is kind of like trying to be more an exciting uh, slice after slice, as opposed to bowing down to being a full song or whatever that means. Anyway, yeah, but
I
that is
did
something
I
challenging.
I did want to ask you a question because you mentioned earlier that you found some of your early work to be cringe. What
Right.
was it about your earlier work that made you cringe?
Um, I would say mostly just how my ability to write something I feel is transcendent, timeless, really good writing, different, all the things that stuff can be. My ability to rap and find my voice, they were asynchronous,
Mm.
both developing rapidly and trying different things, right? And so I think I react a bit to maybe really just salt and pepper amounts of like, whoa, what was I trying to do there with my voice? Or whoa, what was I kind of writing there? And none of my writing was ever like misogynistic or homophobic. It was just like, I don't know, something weird about my house cat. And it's like, really, but all of that, all of that flexing of the pen for me and committing it to ears, even though they were just a lot of that early shit that does make me cringes on tape. Like, and we're talking about a very short era. Like after like Cloud Dead 10, I had my shit together. Everything was really well written by my standards.
Mhm.
always pushing myself, listening to the music, letting that dictate what the rapping does. So yeah, but there was early shit that is just like I don't know, like pubescent. Is that what it is? And it's all
Frenetic energy. Is that it's
it's
that
it's
energy, yeah.
it's still happening, and I think in ways because I was casting a broad net,
Mhm.
what I could do, learning to sing, all that stuff, pitch and melody. I didn't really know what that was, but I could tell I wanted to have a little more range. That's early, and some of that stuff is a little crazy for me. I listen to it and I'm like, whoa, buddy. Well, what the fuck you gonna do,
Yeah, that's awesome. No, it's and I figured it out. Because I was like, this album and the you referenced it, Kay, in terms of the writing, it's so unique. It's so interesting. Um, and I figured out what I think about it today while I was rearranging the coat closet. Um, I got it. Um, so the way you do it is kind of, and my favorite song on this is Untouchable,
Yeah, same though.
Nice.
right? Favorite song, and because it's like brushstrokes that become a painting,
Right.
Mhm.
right? Like you see this, okay, then you see that connects to that, but the rest is not there for you yet. And then brushstroke by brushstroke, by the end, you're like, holy shit, this is awesome. Like,
Yeah.
that's kind of how the writing unfurls a little bit.
Yeah.
Um,
It's mood heavy, that song. And when Kay was saying earlier, for the songs that just start and are smearing you all of a sudden, this song never smears you. It's
no,
always, and there's
Yeah,
a few
yeah.
songs on the record that are like hardcore pocket, like you just, I'm riding the beat, taking some chances, but always keeping what is being said as, I don't know, followable, maybe.
yeah,
It's
yeah,
not always digestible by everyone on first listen, but you're following along, get a little lost, whatever. But and then there's the ones where I know you're going to get lost when I'm doing the same amount of yeah, start from zero. I had a friend who didn't really listen to newer rap.
fair.
And I was like, yo, you've never heard Ka? And he was like, no. And so I play him Ka. But he's ahead. Like he loves the right rap,
Right, right, right.
knows which Wu-Tang records are good,
Yep.
and play him the fucking Ka. And he's like, dude, it's like fast rap. There's no space, but it's slow, and that I think
Oh,
that's
interesting. That's an interesting way to describe it.
Absolutely.
that's completely what it is. Because when you listen,
Yeah.
it's a barrage,
Yeah, he
Mhm.
doesn't leave you any room.
No.
It's
no,
moving slow, but just bar after
correct.
bar of
And
bars.
also the thing he does too that the best rappers do is it's relentless. It's like
Yeah.
relentless
Yeah.
information, and then when it gets visual, which is something that Woods does really well, you add a visual aspect to that. And I think it's the highest form of good
Yeah, you
rapping.
do that in
Uh,
Untouchable where it's just you keep
yeah.
it moving no matter what, even though it's slow.
Right.
Yes,
Yeah, like no.
punishing, but sort of
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's interesting.
and I think and it's really no different than drilling a fast rap that's like rhythmic and you're just like nodding your head to it and getting 50% of the information. It's whatever. And
Yeah,
then these days we just because I spent time writing the fast rap, same amount of time for both. That's why we put lyrics in the vinyl and
That's
it's like
awesome. Yeah,
yeah,
it makes sense.
interesting.
It there's a lot of really important stuff discussed in All Portrait No Chorus, and I realized I think here's my theory as to why it worked. We've talked about it, Kay. Some rappers are cinematic, right?
Mhm.
And like that, we talk. I've said I think that Wood's verse on Bardo could be a movie and could be a damn good movie. Um,
sure.
but there's some rappers that are like novelists, right? Like it's like,
Right.
yeah, you might yeah, you might get lost in it, right? It's not necessarily cinematic. Um, but I think the style here and the style of a lot of what you do is more akin to a playwright.
Interesting. Little vignettes.
Like
Yeah,
Restaurant Not is a great example,
for
right?
sure.
You're
Yep.
you're speaking to the audience,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
And so it's like
Yeah.
as a character
Like a
speaking to
fourth
the audience,
wall thing. Yeah,
and you're
100%.
leading them through what's going on, um, and tricking them at points and bringing them back. And like the reason you get to do what you do here, talk about so much, get personal, not have any choruses to teach people what's going on, is because you perform like
Right.
the way a playwright would write for the performance, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Yep. I think that's the thing is this record is um like an alternate title is The Art of the Verse, you know? And I think that's what, even on the songs where I have features,
Mhm.
that's how I was inviting them. I was like, hey, here's this verse I wrote, and there's
Yep.
space for you to do a verse, and I hear you on it, and it's in a tone that they can be themselves in, you know. But like, yeah, that shit is yeah, I think that's a really good grab of what it feels like to be in the zone that I'm pushing on you, you know. I think it is like kind of performed novelist, and then things are meant to be. I guess the thing too that I liked about not having a chorus is then there's also no second verse, and that means I'm never beating a dead horse. And at this point, there's something interesting about that. I think when you listen to the record, is like um, it's not doesn't need anything you've heard before or that we've done before individually to keep going. Just
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
every
That
song we
makes
have.
that's an interesting point. That like we all kind of expect, okay, that was the first verse. Now the second verse is coming. Oh my
Mhm.
God, is that a third verse? And like so we're all conscious
Right, right.
of this and these structures. And by taking that out and having different song lengths, right? Minute and 51 seconds,
Yeah.
3 minutes, 43 seconds. Like you're just giving people songs and they're just dealing with the songs.
Yeah, and it's not doesn't always need to be like that. That wasn't even intentional with this. I just love the dove beats, and I fucking wrote to them kind of how they were, which I think was
Uh,
esoteric dove bounces. So I was like,
yeah, I'm bad with that stuff because sometimes I'll print a beat and it'll be 40 something seconds. Another one will be a minute 20, another will be 4 minutes. Like it's fine, but
yeah.
it causes a lot of problems as well.
I mean, I felt like there was
Good
something about,
problems, but problems.
Yeah.
yeah, I just kind of got in the groove with them, and it's nice to have like quite a few short songs. I think it's like okay, it's a couple things. It's confident and it's contemporary,
Right,
like
right.
just with respect to attention spans, not with sound palette or my content. It's just very it's a product of now, but it still feels authentic. I think that's like the thing that, and I think it tries different things without trying too hard. And that is something that I've had to learn over time that
Yeah.
is an art of itself.
Yeah, if you listen to the structure of this album and then listen to Deep Puddle Dynamics, it's like the
Right.
opposite, right? Where you guys were like, this is part three of this song, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Well, editing is fucking the final stroke, man. I mean, less is more. There's lots of shit you could print on a poster that is true about making music over time and like learning. For me, I had to learn minimalism after maximalism. I don't know why. That's just how it went. So like, um, probably couldn't have done it the other way. So that's that, and now I can appreciate and access both.
right.
And then rapping is an art and recording yourself is an art and being recorded right. So what I got into, the other thing that has like over the last few years, I just got good at getting in the pocket in my house and getting like great takes, recording it well, different energies. It's kind of like I had to record some VO for like cartoons, and the way you got to nail it, that's how I approach every song without
Yeah, that's crazy.
Meaning something other than myself. You know what I'm saying? So it's like I got these words are dope. They kind of I already have some pockets built in and like styles I'm definitely gonna hit. And then I can do it sort of basic. Like I was saying, man, it's just I don't want to be stock for me. That's really the only rule. Everything else, what it can be, I have no rules about. But I just sometimes I'll start and I'll have an idea and I'm like, this is kind of like I've heard me do this before. Let's not. Um, and then, let that inform what I
Yeah.
do.
And
Mm.
yeah, that's interesting. And this Dove, I noticed it coming off of the project with Alaska, which was just so clean and so danceable, really, like a bouncy project. This is a dirty sound. Like, this is
Mm.
a little bit of a dirty sound. It's less clean. Is that purposeful? How necessary was that for what you were trying to do?
I don't know. I mean, it's a collaborative thing, right? So as soon as the first pack was sent, it kind of goes from there. I let the artist kind of drive the direction of the next few packs. They kind of like pick and then turn things back in and then pile things on. But I feel like with this, the first pack that I sent to you used a lot of what was in the first pack.
Yeah.
So yeah, not definitely not done with intention. Like I had heard Adonis. What's the full title? North
North
American
American Don.
Adonis.
Yeah, yeah.
And I was fucking with that. Of course, I was gonna be fucking with it. I'm a huge Buck 65 fan, huge, But I don't have beats like that. So I didn't and then all the other stuff was just older stuff, right? So I didn't really know what to send. I just picked at random and sent stuff, and then the sound kind of like came from there.
100%. Because I think there was a few beats that I didn't take, and
Yeah, off
those,
the first pack for sure, and then the
yeah, and
following packs it's always yeah.
they inform the sound somehow, Because
Yeah.
Dub,
Yeah.
like, oh, he didn't like these two beats. I won't send him these beats, but I never even hear those beats. It's this sort of half like how cats communicate shit.
Yeah, dude.
Get into like just saying yes to and like and I think there's this thing about like at this point in my arc, it's not about I don't hold on to beats like I hear me on a beat right away. I haven't written it. So it's almost like I can the second time I listen, I can star what I can fuck with, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't know why. I just at this point it's not much deliberation. Yeah.
By the way,
Yeah.
Dove, hearing like seeing Buck 65 do Centaur live is one of my real hip hop moments.
Oh, that's crazy.
Yeah,
Yeah,
best.
the crowd was into it. Everybody knew it was good. It was awesome. Um, but yeah, it's an interesting thing, Dove, because you were like the strategy makes a lot of sense. It because you're basically like I make a lot of really good beats. I put them in the vault. Whoever calls, whether it's Vince Staples or Dose One, I have something on the menu that I can give them.
We'll
Like
see.
whatever.
Yep.
We're gonna find out.
Beats for days.
You know,
That's awesome. Yeah,
I've definitely
preparation.
been down paths where it's like, here's 10, here's 10, here's 10, here's 10, pass, 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 pass. I'm like, all right, I'm good. I'm not gonna, you know what I mean? But that's pretty rare, but it happens. Um, yeah, but I just send it random and let's see how it shakes out.
That's awesome. That makes sense and
Thanks, man.
keeps you fresh. It's awesome. The yeah, this is a heck of an album. It's a heck of an album.
Thank you, man.
Thank you, sir.
Um, I'm really engaged with it. Kay, do you have any runs on here where you're like, wow, that was something.
Yeah, I liked so starting from ta-da,
Oh,
dial up, scales away, and then inner animal.
Yeah.
yeah.
Yep. Good run. Very,
A lot of,
very good run.
Yeah.
Ta-da.
lot of very
Ta-da is
rap
really
shit in there. Yeah.
And Tada is the crazy one. Tada is the beat that Dove made out of fucking train sounds.
Apparently, yeah, we
Uh,
looked up that
Carnival.
session and it was like yeah, it was. Yeah,
Like choo-choo nonsense.
yeah,
Like the
it
originals
really
were
was.
not what that beat is, you know?
Fire.
And that wasn't even intentional because like I feel like that those train sounds are in there, sure, but I wasn't trying to sample those train sounds. I think it was just a part of what was like a thing that I was sampling.
Right. Yeah, the pitch
But
and
then I
exactly.
just didn't, and then yeah, I used the train
It's
sounds.
awesome. It was like
Very,
the pork in the bill that got passed. You know, it was like the train
very
sound.
bizarre. Because
Well,
I would not have known that. We like had pulled up the session together or something, and then we were looking at it like, what is this sample? And then
I was
brought it
shocked.
back down to its original speed, or I looked it up or something, and it was just a train. It's like,
Yeah,
okay,
it's
well
so
that's
great.
fucking weird.
that's fucking great.
Because it has such like a it's not really in triplets, but it feels like triplets. And it has like it really lays into itself. Has like a carnival vibe. That's
Yeah,
not a
yeah,
positive
it
term,
does.
but whatever's going on, it
Yep.
kind of
Yeah. No. I mean, my run K starts with scale
Mhm.
sway, and so it's scale sway, inner animal, untouchable, no cops.
there we go. It's fantastic as well.
So either way, I think inner animal is like really important to this album.
Yeah.
Um,
I
because
heard that right away. That was just Wu-Tang. I was like, oh my God, I'm doing this deck shit. It didn't
that's
even, I didn't even hesitate. I just knew I wasn't going to do it exactly. And then when I got to it, I think I heard that one was in the first set. And I was like, I'm doing this one last. Because fast rapping is like a sweaty affair, you
yeah,
know? Like
yeah,
I go the fuck in and it's a lot of takes. And I'll listen, I'll take a break, and I'll listen to it and I'll be like, I can fucking do this again. And I do the whole thing again. So it's like, you know, even though it gets loose and I'm having fun, I just realized that like, you know how like when a song is done and then it's just that way for the rest of its life?
right,
I
right, right,
try to like not be beholden to like, wait a minute, this second I send this to Dove, it exists, you know.
right.
Let me try the whole thing one more time. And I got into like a healthy competition with myself. And then sometimes I keep the OG, because you can overperform once you're
Right,
more
right.
aware of what's interesting about it. So
Yeah, that shit
yeah,
is bonkers. I don't think that beat has a sample in it. That shit is just you were
Right.
fucking going nuts on that shit. And the
right,
juxtaposition of Untouchable, I think, works so good.
Right. You just needed that. There was a lot of heavy lifting in the album in terms of subject matter in the world, personal, global, whatever. Just talking about things. And then Inner Animal is just like, I come from this world where I rap my face off all the time.
yeah,
Like, I was hearing you talk about this in another interview. Like, there's a world of freestyle that kind of doesn't exist anymore.
sure.
Um,
Yeah.
and it was kind of oppressive to live in from my side. I know you were there, you were the king of that shit, but there were people who did nothing but freestyle everywhere they
Oh
went.
yeah. It's a disease. There's like a whole
Oh, dude,
there's a
please.
tier that is a
Yeah.
disease. I will acknowledge this, you know.
I had a friend in Brooklyn who we just stopped hanging out with because we'd be trying to just literally hang out or watch TV, and he would just start freestyling at us, and we'd be like, my man, like you can't
And
just,
you know, though, I'll say freestyling might be dead, but people that'll just obsessively want to kick you a verse for no reason
Oh
still exist.
yeah.
They've
Yep.
also always existed. And it's like it's a them problem. I don't know what to say about it. Like, you know,
That's awesome
you
the way
as
to
an
put it.
individual, as an artist, you should know and like almost immediately you should know how to navigate that, or you should wait longer to be an artist, you
you'll
know.
find your people.
Yes, yeah,
Find your
tell
people.
everybody. Yeah.
I had the my favorite thing that we were at like this party and there's this dude and you know how like dudes who kind of rap and want to tell everybody they kind of rap, you know? They'll
Yes.
accidentally put on their music. Oh, hey, who knew it was me? And like this guy was in a hardcore band and he was rapping or whatever, and he was like, "I'm gonna freestyle," and I already knew. I was like, this is not gonna be my thing." And he was like, "Cannibalistic, animalistic, make you a statistic," and I'm like, "Get me the fuck out of here, dude."
Oh
Um,
yeah.
and so I'm telling the story to my roommate, and my roommate's like, "That guy works at my bar. Like he's the kitchen." So whenever I go visit him at work and that guy walks by, he just yells freestyle, and the dude would start to freestyle in
Oh
the
my
middle of the
God.
bar, and I'd be like, "Oh my God!" And it was just my roommate torturing me. It was just fucking
You
hilarious.
know, honestly though, man, all of that, that is the manifestation of pop, of rap into a version of pop music. So like people, you'll see people and they'll be like, do something country, and they'll suddenly be like, when I went to the store, and rap has this whole energy and voice and vocabulary, and it's fucking atrocious. Everyone can do it, and it's not my favorite thing about the success of the culture. There's like artistic successes that rap has surmounted in, whether it's the first three Taylor records or
Yep, yep,
all kinds of other stuff that's just irreplaceable in the greater scheme of music and timeless. And then there's this aspect that sometimes I'll like, whether I'm on an airplane or something is on Hulu, I got to see some white child rap, like, hey, everybody, these are Pop Tarts, yo.
yeah. Like,
Oh, stop.
yep,
Is the popularity of rap, it's become like a fucking color, and a
right,
hue, marketing. It's,
yeah,
it's like, there's better, this is the healthy thing is there's better versions of rap, more artistic and brewed and interesting and unique than
yep,
ever.
yep,
And
absolutely.
there are worse, more fucking Cogswell cog versions of rap chasing its tail, competing with noise music than ever. And they
Yep,
exist at the same time. It's just
Yeah.
who's
it's
in.
happening at the same time. Yeah,
Yeah,
there's a Kids Bop version of Not Like Us for sure, for
exactly,
sure,
man. Everything gets wrapped. Yeah. Or
for sure.
reversed. I was in Europe once and like this German dude with acoustic guitar in a cafe, the song comes on and he's doing Hey Ya. And it's just like, hey ya. And it's like,
Oh
dude,
man.
the inverse. It's the thing, man. You just gotta kind of accept it. I think,
I
but
remember that there was an era where I was unpleasant to be around because there were all these folk festivals happen. There's always tons of folk festivals around New England, and they were all like cute white people doing like NWA or Too Short songs, right?
whoa,
Like
in
and
with a guitar.
and yes, on an acoustic guitar, right? And just being like the boys in the hood are always, and I'm like, I hate you, I hate this.
I mean, there's maybe something, maybe someone could do that well, and I would see it, and it would be interesting contribution to the greater scheme of art. But that's a pretty steep order, like Ren Fair, fucking
I was
NWA.
pretty grumpy. I was pretty
Dark.
grumpy. I was like,
Yeah,
this sucks, you guys. Um, yeah, but now they're all doing murder ballads. Shout out to them. Shout out to murder ballads. But
yeah, yeah.
yeah, it's different.
What I'm interested in is like, rap was a new form of music that happened for various complex, but down to the individual reasons, like, Grandmaster Flash and all these pioneers that like invented the form, and then the people that ran with the form, all very important. There will eventually be some other new kind of music. I'm interested in what that'll be. And it'll be informed by rap. I don't know what that's going to be after the apocalypse and the sun melts us, and Trump has everybody's
Sure.
talking,
Yeah. No, it's weird.
it's like, but I'm actually here for like what would the new music be? What extreme circumstances is it going to come from? Because rap was born in the Bronx, and like
Yeah.
true
Yeah.
question that needed to happen.
Absolutely.
That can happen again. Be interesting. See if it's ever musical again. Might just be
In the
desperate.
freestyle era, when like early scribble jams and you were going to, was there a sense of people being like, I'm the best freestyler in my neighborhood, and then meeting somebody
Yeah.
being meeting Juice and then being like, holy shit, what the fuck is happening to me? Um,
Yeah, there was like three categories. There's a lot of categories, but there were these guys that like always freestyled and it
yep,
never was amazing, but my God, could they go,
yep,
and it was,
yep.
and they were nice. Most of them were nice, some of them were not. And then there were people that were amazing and talented, and they started rapping and you wanted to rap. That was the best life had to offer.
Yep.
was someone starting a verse and you being like, oh shit, I'm rapping next. And like having that, that's the cream of the crop, best experience. And then there was people that didn't really freestyle, kicked the writtens, which was this weird, like, hey, I liked you, but now are you quizzing me or what are we doing? Why are we, you're like trying to understand if something is actually written.
Right.
But sometimes makes for better rapping than Freestyle Gary, who's like never shuts the party. The
Yeah.
guy, who's on Jungle Juice.
Yeah. I
But
mean, that's one of the reasons I wanted to show my son the Scribble Jam tapes was to see these different levels because Eminem has this giant like reputation as this freestyle god, battle god, but like the the evidence doesn't, the actual performances don't really back up the level of it. And so I was like, no, you need to see this so you can see him spit his written and then stop like a robot that lost its wind up. You know what I mean? Like that you need to see that and you'll know the difference between people that come with writtens and people that just do it, you know?
and I think, probably true for a lot of people from my era that were serving motherfuckers.
Yeah.
The best shit was not recorded. Scribble was not the best. Some of them came out good, but like my best battles were in some hallway with this motherfucker that I could not stand, or that
Right.
was crap wise at some party. And those were the best battles. And they were not, they would emerge out of everyone trying to rap well, and two people start taking pot shots at each other. And then you full on confront each other. Sometimes the way that I always felt is if you technically and emotionally dismantle them to enough of a degree, it doesn't result in a physical altercation. People can keep rapping. That person's embarrassed. They gotta go pee. Like you try to arrange the weather so that you get someone emasculated, whatever it is, for lack of a better term, creatively, get them on their way. Other people can rap, but like it was always this those were the battles where it was just life or death, and you were cutting each other off and outdoing each other. You cannot do that in an organized battle. That was my
Right, right.
turf and where I was grown, and that informed how I approached recording. Saphir, being relentless,
Yep.
going in and out of being understood and just being complex because you can while you improvise. And that being cool. Like that's the thing when I judged, I would always give people points for just being complex on the spot, not repeating themselves and like killing it, even though they didn't say like ghosts like Patrick Swayze or whatever is
Right, right,
a
right.
offender of humor or hardness. So that's a school that really never got settled, because even the few battles I did, I was always competing with someone who was bringing in this really good line from one of their songs that was
Yeah.
a crowd pleaser, and that was like just it's not improv, that's all. But the rules were never freestyle, was always this term that through eras meant different things.
Yep,
It
yep.
was never really clear. And as a rapper in those battles, when you chose to freestyle, that was just something you had to accept. If you were going to be pure, you were going to have to deal with someone being tacky. And I think the best thing that I did at Scribble was with Rhyme Fest, when his shit is so written and predictable that I was saying his final word of every
Yep.
bar. I got super upset. And I was like, you're the one who's whack. Like, I don't know this rap, dude. I should not be possessing these words. It's a you thing.
Yeah.
So that was something that was one of the only real innovations I did in battling, because right when I started battling Peace, and Abstract Rude, and people who were incredibly important to me as a
Yeah.
musician and artist. And then I was starting that relationship in the worst fucking way possible as an
Right,
enemy.
right, right.
That mixed with the fact that I'm not really cut out for organized battling. And I wanted to make records that were all about one thing, kind of. Like I was just finding my shit with recording all at the same time. So, I was just kind of out. It was super I grew past it, but I'll still serve anybody. Like, that's
Yeah, no, it's that's
fucking
you're that's what it is.
fiction. Yeah, it's, um,
So when you switched your focus to like being the best writer on on the album as possible, like what was that? How long did that process take of like becoming someone you respect as a writer?
man, a long time. It took because I was talking about my writing and my voice delivery, like having
Yep, yep.
different but similar paths, but not being the same thing. There's something about just isolating writing. There's also being an editor. And so the
Mhm.
older my stuff is, there's lines in there that I'm like, what's that doing there? Is that working? But when I listen to the newer stuff, especially the record with Dove, the song ends and I'm like, that's what we call no filler. And no filler means like I was inspired when I did it, but it also means I cut some shit.
Right.
And also when I do like there's a ton of inner rhyme on the record, and with some of that stuff, I have to cut fat on the fly when I'm rapping it. I'm like,
Mm.
oh, what are these two words aren't working, and so I just kind of manipulate it on the fly, still makes sense, but that just kind of all happens in the go down.
Editing is so brutal because you fall in love with something and you're like, this is pretty good. And then when you take it out, it's everything's much better. And
Yep.
you're like, oh, I feel bad that that was filler, but it was. Uh,
It's a thing, man. And I think that's actually part of it. You got to be good to you, and you're not most certainly for me. I think there's a spectrum of this, like, that
yep.
people are on, but for me, I am most certainly not exactly duplicating the same rivet yet again. And then there's people
Mhm.
who are making the same rivet as best as they can, the same, and everything goes outward from that. You're just not. So I think all these things, I'm still recording raps over beats, but how you do it, what you put in it, how it makes people feel, the music you choose, the people you work with, the like. I think that's the thing too about what I like about this record too is there's not only a minimalism to some of the production and the songs themselves, but there's less is more with respect to what the song is asking of you.
Mm.
So it sort of has this opportunity to deliver in a new way where you're like, yeah, I don't know, man, 2 minutes was pretty great. What's next? And
Yeah,
immediately is something new.
that's
And I
dope.
think that does ask more of the people that listen, but whatever. You're a signal in the noise these days. So I don't think that should be an issue. At a point, people got to get over that shit.
Yeah, I mean, it's part of the. We had this conversation for years, Kay, about remember when the 2 minute song became like more the norm, right?
Yeah.
We were talking about it in terms of did they finish the song?
Oh
Right?
yeah. So
Is the song done?
that's a
Right?
completely different
Is the song done? Because what we had seen, and I'm sure you've both heard this, is 2 minute songs, no chorus, somebody's rapping their ass off, but it's kind of a monotone and it's just,
yeah.
it's named after a sports reference, right? It's like,
Well, that's about progression, right?
right.
Like you can progress in 2 minutes and be satisfied and go somewhere and come back and get dropped off on the
Yeah,
curb and not be annoyed. And especially for me when I'm doing different styles and asking people, and Dove is doing different textures and beat adventures, we ask you to go there, we satisfy that, and you come right back. You try something else.
Yep.
I don't know. There's a
I'm,
thing. But yeah, I hear you.
I
It
might
can
have
be
to give credit to Fat Boy Sharif for starting to sell me on 2 minute songs. Like, um,
there's
I
good two
just,
minute songs, right? That's the truth.
I just felt like, oh wow, that was done. That was an experience, right? And and I think that is, he had that with the EP with Fat Tony. A lot of those are 2 minutes. Great, great work. I think, yeah, he just started like, and I think he made me think about it in a whole different way of like, man, that was a minute and 30 seconds, but it was fucking great. Like,
Yeah, because
yeah,
it's about something kinetic, like something's kinetic,
yep,
and you can't be kinetic twice as when it's twice as long.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, yeah.
right, like,
The energy of it would dissipate after in the second half.
yeah, and there's songs where we've tried that, or that's on the menu, or that's possible, but you just are like, I don't know, it's just good like this.
Usually
Just
works better if it builds up as if you
right.
instead of going into it.
yeah,
So
I think does it may change the pressure of the like in terms of um I started as a short story writer, Dose, and so
right,
I always felt like I could screw up a page in the middle and it would be fine. Like
right.
if it wasn't my best page, as long as the ending kills, people are in for the big, I can do it. But when you start writing poetry, you realize you can't have a bad stanza. Like
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
murder. So like the short song is kind of like that. Some songs find their real voice and their real persona partway through the first verse. And you can't do that if the song's under two, right? If
So,
it's
I think about this, what you were talking about the page middle thing. I think about this a lot, and I spent time on this with All Portrait, No Chorus, where I'm like, this fucking line is like lightning in a bottle. And then there's a bar, and then this line is fucking amazing. But this is just getting me there. And I
yep,
was like,
yep.
what if that bar between them was memorable, was unfathomable that I would go there and come back to this other great line. And so like that's a editing pass. And then relying on myself being outdoing myself as a writer and thinker. But that is what I get from listening to like Backwoodz, Sharif,
Yep, yep.
all this music. I listen just for a second. And then that line between, I'm like, yeah, that is trash. I fucking hate this. This is cheesecake. These are two diamonds. And then I got like sausage between two diamonds. I just get that shit out of there because I am in healthy competition with all good rapping and good rap writing. It's
yeah,
like
Mhm,
that
mhm.
shit. That's the way I'm sure it is for Dove too with beats. It's like you hear great beats and you're like, oh fuck, I kind of want to make some
Yeah,
yeah,
shit.
yeah.
definitely.
All yeah. Just good, even good raps. Like I'm like, oh man, like yeah. It all just I'm obsessed with listening to new music, in which in turn drives me to make beats. So
Right.
like, yeah.
Yeah, same.
Yeah. No, it's and I you definitely taken a lot of different music. What we so Dove, what you you gave did you tailor any of this specifically for Dose, or did you just once he picked the first couple, you were like, all right, I know what you like.
No, it was more like, yeah, I tried to dial in a little bit on the second and third pack, but then also once he started recording and laying things down, he kind of was like, try stuff with post production. So I would try stuff, send it, and he'd be like, "Oh, yes, A, B, C, D, no, E." You know what I mean? Like, so then it would become more tailored, like in the post production back and forth between me and him, and then towards the end of that, he brought in Andrew Broder to add to the post production, did turntablism all throughout.
Yep.
So like the tailoring comes, yeah, not really pre tailoring comes after primary recording,
Yeah.
primary
Yeah.
writing and primary recording. There were some choices I made probably in the second and third beat pack or whatever, but not like, oh, I'm gonna make a beat that sounds like this record. I can't do stuff like that.
It's the weirdest is the weirdest thing, but it's the like if I ever run into someone who's working on writing something, like sometimes those I'll be at a party and there'll be like somebody like I'm writing this novel and I'm thinking about this, but they're they're not they're stuck or whatever, right? All I'll do is just like grab them by the lapel and be like, write, just keep writing, just write, just
For sure.
write,
Yeah.
and just do it, just keep doing it, and then once you've done it, look at it, edit it, see what you did, think about what you did, and then you know where you're going, right?
Yeah.
Like, but
10,000 hours is like super true for writing.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
Shooting jumpers from the top of the key and fucking writing. 100% right
I
up
feel like
there.
everything. Yeah.
Yeah, honestly, it really is every, and otherwise you're a natural, but still, then you got to learn to edit. And then you also, being a good writer is so relative because over a long career, what are you writing about?
Right,
Um,
right, right.
what are you falling back to? Like, the only thing I ever do to service my fans or people who like what I do is call back to what I've done and bring it forward in little bits, right? But in general, you're sort of trying to keep track of where you've been and outdo that without repeating yourself. Like it's this for me, even though I think what most people think is crazy town music, it's actually about being mindful, not repeating myself, being aware of where I've been, and then taking every new chance to freeze my voice and some poems as like as close to life or death. It's literally my favorite thing. Like coffee's great.
Right.
Um, weed is amazing, but every
Mhm.
once in a while there's a good series I can watch or something, but like this, it's my favorite thing on the planet. And I forgot because having a music career, it made everything so complicated and I had to rethink, start doing video games.
Mhm.
So you get failure feelings mingled in with everything else. But
Yeah.
turning to this, I basically was like, yo, this is my favorite thing in the world. I fucking love it. I'm a natural. I'm not a natural at sawing and construction. I'm not a
Right,
natural
right.
at automobiles, tech, code. I'm not a natural. There's all
Right.
this shit that I've tried that I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna suck at this. I should make a friend who does this. And then
Yeah, 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 yeah.
and, and then that's how I try to move in the world is you don't use people, but you connect to people and are honest about what you suck
Dude.
at and what they never have to worry about again when they work with you. It's like, I
Yeah.
got
No, I'm with you. And to me, the biggest lesson from All Portrait No Chorus to other people who are studying this album is the reason you could take out the chorus and the reason you could these songs could be this dense and work is because th- we never stop performing. It never stops being fun, right? Um, as you know, a, I think you're like the Warren Ellis of the shit. You know,
man.
it's dense, it's thoughtful, but it's fun and it moves and it's got pace,
Yep.
and it's got emotion and personality, and we see a lot of heavy stuff, a lot of thoughtful stuff, um, that isn't being performed, that is just being laid, you know. Um, and I don't say this to shit on that. I think it's just I'm just like there's another level to this. Like
Yeah. Yeah.
don't limit
Yeah.
yourself. This can move too, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, it's all very real. I think there really is like a really amazing rap song is like this blend of accessing all these tiers. And some people happen to do God tier work on multiple tiers, and that is therefore the blueprint.
Yep.
That's Ka doing what they did,
Yep.
or Micah Nine doing what they've done. So
Right.
it's
Right.
like
Right.
it's these that's what you want to be, right? You want to be
Yeah.
that. You don't want to be popular. There's this, you actually want to fucking make great work. It's kind
Right.
of it's really now you've also seen that you can look like a rapper and become one. That is not a novel concept that of course has been around for 10 years already. We got all kinds of people
Yeah.
that just look rappery and then suddenly they rap. And then it also
Yep.
you see
Yep.
Shaq. We had to suffer two Shaq records, three. I
Oh
don't even
man, Shaq can't stop the
so,
rain. Yep.
and
Yep.
that's actually us talking about the little girl selling me band-aids with a rap or the
Yep.
burger commercial with a rap. It's
Oh
like this is
man,
all
like you started to see winter fresh commercials of people rapping and shit. Oh man, it was rough.
AI rap. I don't even want to know, but it's just that's one of the pitfalls of its success. There's good
I
things too.
explained to my son the Pusha T dissing McDonald's on the Wendy's commercial because he
Right.
wrote the McDonald's jingle. Like it's gotten to a real strange place, but that's it's
And I think he wrote the Arby's one too.
yeah. That was the I think was
Yeah.
uh,
Arby's is so bad though. Jesus Christ.
the but yeah, the other thing I wanted to talk about, sequencing is really important on this album.
Sure.
And it's such an interesting thing to me that it ends with best metric.
Hmm.
I feel like a lot of people would want to end on best metric. Like they would, a lot of people would end on a song that was like, I don't know, deep, either deep and dark or uplifting. Best
Right.
metric, is an, I love that. I love it as a choice.
No,
Um,
I
yeah.
think when I look at those, so right away, Untouchable and That Work, I was like, these start the two sides. There was no debate in my mind. They just felt like how these two sides start, right? So then I'm like, I want to go to Crazy Town before Untouchable. And then I'm like, okay, so I have to end with Crazy Town. So Inner Animal and Best Metric became two suitable ends. And then I have to go, I also, because no two beats are the same, there was no key clashing, but we tried a bunch of orders,
Yep.
and
Yep.
then on this one, and then did rather complex blending. But basically, it's like it goes uh song that's making you drift and get lost in it into song you have to keep up with.
Mhm.
Song you get drift, song you have to keep up with. And I try to just sequence them that way across both sides.
That makes sense. Oh, you're on mute, Dove. What's going on?
Yeah, I feel like that's why Not for Airports kind of comes second to last, right before it gets crazy with best metric, and it works out on the same. Yeah,
Yep. It's a
a
Yeah,
perfect,
good
not for everyone. That's a good
juxtaposition.
point.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, some
Yeah.
space.
No,
And
yeah.
so
It's
sure.
really, I think it's really well curated in traveling in that way. Um and that's why I think a lot of the middle is so strong. The middle of the record is so damn strong. And I think
mm,
that's
Really good. That's a compliment because most records have middle problems,
oh
right?
yeah,
yeah. Well,
Even really good records we love.
right. And especially modern day, the the middle is not what it used to be. Like
Right,
it's
right,
all about
right.
the top. It's top heavy,
Yeah,
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 It's
yeah,
the first five. So like when you see an album where the strongest part is the middle, the people that made that are album people.
yeah,
Like
yeah.
Mhm.
that you have to be an album person to really have that strong a middle. That's
But
yeah.
I feel like that's just this way to in a non-bad way chunk and categorize artists in all kinds of genres. Like what artists actually do in this day and era really focus, give you an album experience. Like
Right.
you could pull people from rap, electronica, fucking rock, it's like a
Sure.
cool pop. There's some pop,
yeah.
It shouldn't be that way, but it is. Like it's sort of like lowering the bar on what it is to be an artist when like the album became less important. Like a song is good, a bunch of good songs is even
Right.
better. It works together. It to me, it's still a um like an order of operations, and a great
Right.
album better than a great song.
Yeah, maybe I think like it's
That sounds
you
redundant.
you can tell the difference whether it's like sports commentating or news anchoring or rap music with someone who cares about the craft of what they're doing
Correct. Right.
versus somebody who cares about other things,
Yeah.
being famous or the metrics and the clicks, and you can tell people that are like craft focused,
Yep.
and that's yeah, that's really dope. Kate, do you have other questions here? You wanted to get in?
No, no,
No?
man. This
Perfect.
was a great discussion.
Great
Yeah.
discussion. Let's go. This is my favorite part of doing this stuff with Dove. Recommendation corner, because Dove listens to everything.
Oh, I don't even.
Yeah.
Oh man.
So I'll lead off. I'll set the table here. I'm gonna do two because less is more. Black Antique by Pink Sifu
Yeah.
just dropped. Sifu is somebody like the way he mixes his voice, the way his diction works. It's not always linear in the way I understand music. So like sometimes I'll get frustrated from like the old school hip hop fan perspective. When listening to Black Antique, what I did was I was shut that off and was like, no man, you're listening to Mingus. Like just digest this mood.
Yeah,
Um,
that record dope.
it's really fucking good, man.
And I think he's a natural. He's sort of the way I would describe what you were describing, where like that's what he's moving toward is like his own naturalness. So it's like you're not in charge of where it goes as the listener, and I'm grateful to hear that. And like this new shit sounds like he's even closer to that son than
Yeah,
he's.
it's different. It's a different chamber.
Yep.
The other one I was gonna say is my favorite. I've had problems with rock music for a while. Um, I've
First,
I just think it's too nice. It's too nice a place now.
mhm.
And it's kind of been rudderless for a while, but I finally got a rock album that I really enjoy. And it's Lower by Benjamin Booker.
Yeah,
Um,
shit is really good.
that's
Oh,
fucking awesome.
Him and Kenny Siegel.
What? Kenny Siegel's on it? What?
Yeah, Kenny Siegel produced like I think the whole thing.
Holy
yeah, that's
shit,
what
I
I've
didn't even
heard.
know that. That's awesome.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Fucking Kenny Siegel. That's great.
Yeah,
Um,
um,
Kenny Siegel's awesome.
rock and rolls, like as a form, they're still amazing artists, but it's kind of hard for me to pay attention to or really take
Yeah, it's for
on.
lack of a better term, I think, with this record, if you want to check it out.
Kenny Siegel's.
No,
Oh, it's
Yeah.
awesome. I can't believe that. You blew my mind with that, Doug.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But yeah, I love that album. Great songwriting, super unique stuff. I've always liked Benjamin Booker. Um, yeah, this is just really cool. There's punch you in the face moments. There's really kind of pretty romantic moments. It's just a real mix. And it's really kind of exciting for me. Um, yeah.
Uh, yeah, I've been listening to the Geordie Greep album. That guy's fucking sick.
Wait,
He's the
spell this
lead.
name? I gotta.
He's the lead singer from Black Midi. Remember that band?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Geordie Greep. I don't know. It's
you saw the
Geo.
cover online, man. It's resonating.
The New Sound is the name of the album. The New Sound.
Okay.
I've been listening to a lot of The Comet is Coming, which is one of Shabaka Hutchins' bands.
Yep, yep.
Um,
Oh, I got it. I got yep. I've seen this cover.
Yep.
Yep, absolutely.
this guy named Delroy Edwards that just makes this instrumental music that I don't know anything about.
Love Delroy Edwards.
You know Delroy Edwards?
Yeah, I got into him a long time ago. I love him.
It's really lo-fi shit.
Super lo-fi.
Is it one person? Is it just like a guy named
Yeah.
Delroy Edwards?
I think he might have guests on there that aren't credited, but he is definitely one dude with like Casio shit on a 4-track. And
Yeah,
no tracking, like no clock. It's fucking the best shit. It's kind of
really
savant.
good shit.
Also, Patrick Cowley, if you like that, you should check out Patrick Cowley.
Okay.
Kind of
That's awesome.
That and yeah, this band or this also producer, I don't know how to pronounce it. Meitei.
Oh wow. No. Is
It's
this instrumental as
Métis
well?
maybe. Yeah, kinda. There's vocals. It's yeah, he's Hiroshima artist,
Oh,
Japanese
that's dope.
folklore. Yeah, like
cool.
just check it out. It's really um ambient sometimes. Yeah, it's cool shit.
Ambient sometimes would be a great album title.
So
That would be dope. Yeah, and also yeah, there's all I should shout out. Fresh Kills and Henry Canyons have a new album coming out. I'm super excited for, called Educated Guesses, and Infinity Knives and Brian Ennals are back. A City Drowned in God's Black Tears is the album title.
that one's, yeah, here
Yeah,
for it.
I'm so excited. for them. Brian Eddles says incredible things that sound insane at first, and when you then you're like, oh yeah, no, that's real. That's really the world we live in. So it's awesome. What are you listening to, Dose?
Right now, my ears are full of all this half-finished music I've been finishing
Yep,
and video
yep.
game. The last, I got into Jameson over the holidays.
Oh man,
That shit's
bro.
so fucking good,
Soft
man.
spot.
Oh man, it makes me want to
Okay,
dance.
the artist Jameson.
Yeah, 100%.
Okay.
Yeah.
That would be awesome.
No, I drink better whiskey than that,
I
bro. I
agree.
don't
You know?
know about, no, but I think what else? I bought a lot of shit recently too. I got the most recent Getty vinyl.
Yep, yep.
I got Cine, the K
Woo!
to I, got what else? I bought the new broadcast reissues,
Oh
uh,
shit.
which I'm still getting back through. They're like unfinished, but some were pretty interesting.
Yep.
What else did I get, man? I got a ton of shit. It's a lot. I actually right now in music, I gotta chill because I feel behind. So like one of these weekends, I'm gonna open up these LPs that I got stacked up,
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
like,
yeah.
Yep.
yeah, I hate feeling late for the future. So
No,
blah.
I hear you. I hear you. You gotta curate your own experiences. You gotta, set your own timeline. So
Yeah,
yeah.
because I
The
really listen to shit. I sit down, I get it on, like Revelator. I waited to like really listen in the crib. Have like an evening, have a friend over and you don't talk. You just listen to the man rap. Kind
Revelator's
of should
so
be.
Revelator's so cool.
Yeah, great
So
record.
I love that. So Kay, what do you bump?
So I just got it's the Batman soundtrack by Prince.
Oh wow, 1989.
Oh,
Okay.
Yeah,
wow.
I just randomly picked that up a couple days ago and really enjoying it.
Nice.
That reinvigorated his career.
Yeah, that's what I
Little
read.
digger. Yeah.
That's so weird.
Which Batman was that
That
though?
was Michael Keaton.
Yeah, the one
Right.
with Jack
But it was
Nicholson and the
good
Joker.
still.
Yep, yep,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yep.
Actually a film, like almost a real film.
To
Yeah.
think like you would, if you describe that scenario, it would sound insane. If you're like, so they pulled a comedian, stand-up comedian, to play Batman, and Tim Burton directed it from Pee-wee's Big Adventure, and Prince did the soundtrack. You'd be like, what is this?
What is this garbage? Yeah, right.
Are we
Yeah.
doing a Mad Lib? What is happening?
No,
Um,
it's true. But it worked and many did not.
it
Yeah.
worked. But honestly, I guess the Anticon movie would play like that a little bit. You're like, and then they moved to to the West Coast and in the middle of all that stuff. So it's the stories seem crazy when you think about it. Um, but yeah, this is and we've been I don't know I've been reading lots of comic books. I got my new tablet. Um, I
You
was,
got
I
a
was
favorite
shout
currently?
I was shout I'm just picking and popping weird stuff, catching up. And crime writer Walter Mosley had a run on the thing back in like 2021,
Interesting.
and it's fucking cool. Walter Mosley's a
Nice.
great crime writer, wrote Devil in a Blue Dress, and like he just made it into a really classic badass like New York, hard-bitten detective guy story with the thing. It's so cool. It's such a classic comic book with weird mystical shit going on. I don't know. Very cool classic Marvel energy, which I dug.
You guys read Monstrous? You need to read Monstrous.
Oh, I definitely read Monsters. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so that's probably my favorite ongoing work of fiction, especially graphic novel tip. And then out of it, what did I get this week? I got the new Bird King, which was good. Uh and I can't tell if I like or just kind of like the Something's Killing the Children. I've been reading
Oh
that.
yeah, no, I dig that. I dig that. Yeah.
Just not on the fence. I definitely like it, but I can't tell if I'm like motherfucking in like I am on my favorite. works.
I dig it. I just think it'll be one of those things that I'll fall off of it eventually. Like it'll eventually, you know, it'll be past where I'm at. But Monstrous, at first I was in for the art, but then
Right.
I read other stuff Marjorie Liu did, and I think Marjorie Liu is amazing.
Genius, and it's two women creating that, and it's like the most badass fucking world since, I don't know what, the Invisibles or something else, like Transmetropolitan, something like it
Yeah.
has this adventure to it. That it, like just creativity is fucking really amazing to see. Because a lot of graphic novels are, I wouldn't say it's a bad time. I still collect a lot of stuff, but it's not this fountain of fucking inspiration these days. There's
Right.
a lot of,
It had like a prestige era
yeah.
where everything was crazy and innovative, and then it kind of hit the bricks.
Yep.
And there's still stuff that's great. It's not like TV, there's still a lot of stuff that's great, but we're not in the prestige era.
And I think the industry is sadly shrinking. So you see that with like how the talent and real artists have to adjust, but they're still there. They're still
yep.
like that's what I think about Monstrous is like, what we were saying earlier about the different kinds of music existing at the same time. I'm like, we don't need to have a conversation about if they're improving because it's the best it's ever been.
Right.
So I don't need to see some like X Force, which was fine, but that shit really doesn't compete with where this new shit is, which is cool.
Right. Yeah, and just like music, like for me, I haven't listened to the radio in years since I was a kid. Right? Like once I could control my own music, that's all I wanted to do. And so you can totally just never listen to Jack Harlow again if you want.
Right.
There's ways and means.
When I go to the gym, that's where I hear everything.
Yep. So that's what I would do. But yeah, follow Fused Arrow Records, the next great we had a Backwoodz draft and Caltrope's Press was a guest and said we're gonna be doing one of these with Fused Arrow in a few years. So
Hell yeah.
We'll see. We'll give it a shot.
because it's been fabulous. So yeah, thank you both for your time.
Thank you guys for having us on, man. I really
Thank you,
appreciate it.
man.
We're
This was
here.
a really good convo.
Yeah, killing it. So
Thanks for checking out the record.
yeah, appreciate everybody, following it, spreading the word on these albums. The community has power, right? The community has the power to galvanize these artists and make people, more successful, right? And like make your favorite artist more successful so they can give you better versions of what you love about them, right?
Word.
Like give them
Yep.
resources. So
And art, it's an important life sucks right now. This country's a fucking mess. And
Right.
this shit, it actually makes the little things and the arts and crafts that you enjoy twice as important because everything else is twice as bad. It's how it's the scales sway, man.
it's yeah. It's
Because they're not
really-
all on the same part of the scale, Fucking so
Yep.
it's
it'll
super important. Really appreciate you guys listening to shit. The culture of underground music.
it's a thank you for challenging us all these years, man. I appreciate
man.
it.
Thank you,
And
guys.
yeah, well, next week Kay is going to Miami.
Nice. Have
Kay
fun,
is
bro.
going to live the heat culture lifestyle.
Yep. Jimmy will probably get traded when I'm down there.
Yep. We'll be, so we'll be coming back with some exciting stuff after that. So we got lots of interesting folks booked. So
Awesome.
stay with us. Appreciate y'all.
Yeah, man. Thank you. Have a great night, y'all.
You
Yeah,
too.
have a great night, man.
Peace.
Thanks, guys.
What will tomorrow bring? What will tomorrow